Oh, can you hear me? Welcome to Entertainment is Dead. I am your host for this evening. I am Chuck. Tonight, I have with me the fucking circus crew in here, starting with Thomas Winkley, wrangling this fucking circus. I've also got Lucas guesting tonight, along with Vance for.
What
Whoop!
what
Let
the
me
hell
set
are
this
you
up.
doing?
Too many things at once. All right, so here we go.
I'm just putting an eye patch on you.
I can't see what I'm doing. All right. So tonight we have a few things to discuss. We want to kind of talk about games that came out. Evolve came out this week. We want to cover that. Some announcements with an tournament that Vance is going to cover and lead us into a discussion about user-based content. And we are also going to talk about something that I'm pretty passionate about. Um, where the fuck did it go?
That's also
I'll
something
get to it later.
I am very passionate about.
Okay. So, anyways, let's start up with our weekly update. Tom, what have you been doing this week? Last week you were talking about Destiny. Is that still taking up all your time?
Not really. I played for quite a few hours on Sunday. Played a little bit Monday. I've actually been gone back to Grim Fandango. I really want to finish that up. So, Grim Fandango. I just started playing Tales of Hearts R on the Vita, and I've been super jonesing to play some. I don't know. I'm just kind of like in that weird phase where I'm jonesing for a really, really solid game, but nothing is like taken hold on me lately. So I really just kind of jump between those two games, Grim Fandango and Tales of Hearts.
So, is that game still crashing on PC?
No,
No. Hey,
no,
Vance, I'm still picking up
it
all those fans.
it runs perfect now.
Gotcha.
So
Did they put out a
yeah,
patch?
I've
Okay.
yeah,
I,
they patched it.
I have hit a couple of weird like bugs on the Vita side. Like last night I was playing and there's a part where you're riding an elevator with a forklift and you have to drive the forklift and like shove it in like this fake doorway to block the elevator basically. And I parked the forklift too far to the right in the elevator. And when I got off the forklift to hit the button on the elevator, Manny got stuck, and the game started like basically shuffling back and forth. And I couldn't walk away, and I couldn't move the forklift, and I couldn't push the button. And I hadn't saved in since like the beginning of the level, so I had to literally replay like 7 puzzles.
Hmm.
Luckily, I mean, I had already figured out what to do with everything, so I was able to run through it in like 10 minutes. But that's the beauty of those games, you know. It's if you know what to do, you can run through the whole game in like probably an hour, you know. But if you don't know what to do, it's going to take you 10 hours, right?
So that's a game that I've always been interested in. Is it something that you can really get replay value out of? Like something like, you play Castlevania or Metroid, I still feel like you can go back and play those games a second, third time, maybe if you really, really like it. Is that something you can do with that game?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's options to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something where you're going to go through it for like to have different conversations with people, and if you didn't have all of the conversation paths, you can go through those and see some of the cool stuff. But I don't think it's something there. I don't think it's something where like you're gonna go through it and have a completely different experience than you did the time before, right? The games just weren't written that way back when this game was in its heyday. But it's
Nice.
still really fun to go through. And I think the cool thing still with remastered is flipping between the remastered version and the not remastered version is really nice to see like how they updated the lighting and the textures.
I will say that's probably one of the only redeeming factors about the Halo remakes is going to actually go back and see it in nostalgic, the way it looked before. I actually played a lot of it in the original format for those first couple levels that I did play it before I returned it. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't return it.
Before I sent
I
it back
never did that.
to whence it came.
Yeah. So Vance, what have you been playing?
Quick live as usual. Playing some Dave Defeat, Source, which is an old classic. If you guys have Steam and you really really like Counter Strike Source, you'll like Dave Defeat Source. It's a World War II shooter, multiplayer. It's a lot of fun. Um, Playing a shit ton of airsoft. Every chance I can get away, I go shoot kids. Um,
So did you end up
and
are you using uh your skills in the way of design right now? What are you doing for work? Because I know
Right now
that
I
you
work
had that.
I work at a fine art foundry.
Okay.
So I have a lot to do with what we do is we do bronze sculptures. So I have a lot to do with that right now. Like a lot of fine art comes through there. My job, a lot of it's just prep and just making sure that the bronze comes out correct and making sure that there isn't any problems, as it's going through this process. And it's pretty cool. It's a process that's been around for 1,000 years, and it really hasn't changed a whole lot, even though we have all this modern technology. It's pretty much the same thing they were doing back in Greece, back in ancient times. So it's cool. Plus, you get to see a lot of really bitchin' art.
Nice.
Really.
And there's less austerity in the U.S. Huh? Topical.
What?
Huh?
I don't know where
Sorry.
he's going
What?
with
I
that.
was just commenting on the financial crisis in Greece. Sorry.
Oh,
It's for you.
Oh, hey, he's bringing up the news. That's great.
Boom.
Hey, guess what? This is about fucking video games. All right, both of you. Um, so didn't you have a what the fuck are they called? LAN party last weekend? Didn't
oh
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
one? How'd that go?
No, that fell through. But we did have one the weekend before, and that was a lot of fun. We played a shit ton of Day of Defeat and
It's weird. That's like
Quake Live.
something. It's weird that something archaic like that would fall through. That's kind of strange. Like people actually get on the internet and play video games or something. I don't have to go
Dude,
to anybody's house. It's so weird. You got any ideas about that, guys?
I've never heard
Mhm.
of. What is this internet you speak of?
Huh.
yeah.
You don't just
Internet?
plug. I thought you just plugged things into a router and everybody played in the same
Now
room.
is that where God brings the Googles in from the satellites?
Yeah.
And it tells me things about the cancers. Is that how? Is that what the internet is? That series of tubes that brings me data on the medical diseases. How the
And
government is putting microchips in its vaccinations to give
okay, and
autism to the children's.
I don't
I
know
can
what
go
he's
for
saying.
days.
Okay, so let's have our guest, Lucas. Tell me what
Yo.
you've been playing this week.
Probably no surprise to at least two of you. Still playing quite a bit of Destiny. And actually hit 32 tonight, so I think I'm going to take a break for a bit.
Yay!
Life
You're getting
achievement
burned out too,
accomplished.
huh?
It's still fun getting some of the weapons and having like the raid crew, which you've done some of the raids with us. Lance is pretty fun, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to taking a break, and since Majora's Mask is coming out this weekend, I'll probably
Hell
pick that up and
yes.
spend a lot of time with that.
Yeah, I
It's
kind of
three.
know. Sorry, go ahead,
I
Tom.
was saying it's 3DS upgrade week, man. I'm so stoked. I'm finally gonna take my first gen 3DS, and hopefully I'm gonna upgrade that bitch to a big, fancy
New XL.
that I can just sit on my nightstand and never play. I'm pretty excited.
I'm
Those are
tempted.
Yeah.
And I have the XL now, and I'm pretty tempted to get rid of it to get a new one. The power charger thing, the adapter is kind of a shitty.
Yeah.
You have to buy one of those.
Well, and the thing that's got me, and this is stupid, because I'm super, like, I should be super stoked they're moving to micro SD, and for the most part I am, but I'm kind of bummed because I have a 16 gig SD in my current 3DS, and so I'd have to go out and buy like a 16 gig micro SD to match the memory. You know what I mean? So it's not just like a straight $200 get a new console. And then
Right.
I can't really trade in my 3DS without unless I buy a power adapter to trade in with it.
Tom.
There's some stuff.
Newsflash: micro SDs are like fucking like a 16 gig micro SD is like $10 now. You can get
Oh,
them on sale.
well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to go look
Right
at
for
that.
new wave.
Go look at that series of tubes and see what they can get delivered to me.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Lucas? Like I know you were talking about how I'm really that the isn't Europe getting an NES version, like an NES skinned LL, or they already did.
I don't know if it's Europe, but I know in Japan.
That's
So
what it
there's
was.
two. There's the 3DS, the new 3DS, and the new 3DS XL, which in Japan is called LL for whatever reason I'm unaware of. And I believe the new 3DS, the smaller one, similar to what you have now, they have a color scheme that's like the old Super Nintendo controller with like the purples and grays, which is super cool. In the United States, and I'm not sure about Europe, but the United States, we're not receiving the
Yeah,
smaller 3DS. We're only getting the larger 3DS, and it will be branded as an XL in the States.
yeah,
Oh, surprise, surprise! We're not getting something that Japan gets. That's so weird.
bunch of
It's
dicks.
like
Very.
they give a shit about us or something.
Well,
I mean, it is cool that Nintendo has said that their region locking is a problem, and they want to make their consoles and their games moving forward region free. But
Which I don't know why
We'll
they
see
haven't done that
exactly.
yet. I mean,
15 fucking years later.
yeah,
Like,
Right.
I mean, the Vita and the PSP have been region free since inception. I don't understand why they can't just click the switch and be done with it.
because they
Because
fucking hate
Nintendo.
us.
It's
No,
Nintendo.
Do you
They
guys
just-
like this is gonna be an old school reference, but do you guys know how they region locked Super Nintendo games?
Wasn't it just the shape of the cartridge?
No.
Yeah, there was like a little tab that stuck out, yeah, that you could just break off. In like if you broke that tab off your Super Nintendo, then you could play other region games.
Really?
High tech.
Yeah, the analog region encoding.
The Super Famicom games on your Super Nintendo. That's cool.
Yep. So
I
there you
fucking
go.
hate those guys.
Fun fact.
Ooh, offend half the room again. Talk shit on Nintendo.
I mean,
I
you can talk.
love Nintendo.
I would say you can talk as much shit as you want. I love them. They'll keep laughing as they take all our fucking money, though.
No,
Maybe not yours, but
It's,
maybe not mine.
you can talk all the shit, but they'll sit up on their ivory tower made of cash and Pokemon and just laugh at us.
and a
Yeah, right.
fucking Meebos now.
Oh, right. Did you
Yeah.
see that the Toon Link was back in stock at GameStop this week? By the way, I saw Twitter taken by storm the other day.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find one in the wild. Mega Man's going to be the big one that's going to be hard to find.
Yeah.
That I'm going to really want.
Oh, I need to go. I need to go fund that Kickstarter. Speaking of Mega Man. Fuck.
Big Hero or Hero number 9.
No. There's a statue that Lucas posted, and I can't remember the toy company, but they're
It's a new toy company too. This is their first toy.
and they're doing a Mega Man statue that you can fund. It's $80 for to get the main.
It's actually it's a figurine, not a statue.
Oh,
So it's completely articulated and posable, and you can swap out the different parts of the blaster. Parts of it are die-cast and have LEDs.
Mhm.
Oh wow, they went
pretty
all
heavy
out.
duty for a Mega Man figure.
and then if you
The
get,
boosters pop out of his feet, his big feet. So he has like rockets that come out.
and if you fund it, I think it's like $180. You get both. You get the prototype armor, and the Mega armor. So pretty sweet.
Sweet.
Pretty sweet. Anyway,
Mega Man.
Mega Man. Yay!
All right, so I'm gonna follow up this train of crap, and it really is crap because I did that come at me, bro. The brainchild between Vance and I, and Vance bailed on me. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go play airsoft," and I'm like, "That's cool." I drank like 3 beers before I had to play this god awful game, and I was pretty fucking drunk by the time I turned on Assassin's Creed. I really didn't want to play it, and let's just say that beer came out my nose because I was talking so much shit, and then I tried to breathe, and I'm just lucky that it's not saved and recorded.
Is there video on the internet of that happening? I want to
There
watch
is-
this.
There's YouTube of it after beer came out my nose, but it's bad. It was a train wreck. I fucking hate that game, and even just like watching the video of myself playing it, I can't decide what makes me more irritated about that game. The very, very bland story, or the fact that all of them speak with British accents in a fucking game based in Paris, France. At least give me like French accents. Give me something. It's terrible. And the French Revolution. It's a disgrace. And then Steve's not here to defend himself, which is even better because he put up something that said like Ubisoft's like reply or rebuttal against people that are mad that they didn't use French accents, and it was like the lamest response. I would have to go pull it up, but I don't have the energy to waste on that shitty game anymore.
There's not that many French people in Paris anyway.
I don't know. I can't remember what they were saying, but I was like, this is a PR excuse. This is exactly what this is. I read right through it. So
Assemble our spin team.
it was fucking terrible. I hate that game. I hate that series. And that was a stupid idea. Somebody else is going next, and I can't wait to troll them. So we're going to pick another game, and I think it needs to be Tom, and I just want to get on and troll him the whole time.
Do it. You've got the entire Steam library to do a come at me, bro. You pick a game.
That's true.
If I don't own it, if you buy it for me, I will play it.
Sure. Done and done.
Or
Okay.
you can go look at my
Um,
library of 175 Steam games, and I will play one of them.
Dude,
Yeah.
we should make him play H1Z1.
Oof.
Any game?
Is that terrible?
I kind of want to play a virus named Tom.
Suitable?
named Tom.
But the whole point of this... Sorry, go ahead, Lucas.
I was gonna say I think we should get Tom to play Desert Bus.
There you go.
Isn't that the game where there's eventually you just die?
No.
Like, you can't actually succeed at Desert Bus.
Nope, that's not what it is, Tom.
This isn't that game.
I could explain it, but I'm just letting you sit in the sweat.
Jo-
You should just play it. I don't think we should tell Tom what it's about, but I think you should play that game,
I
Desert
think it
Bus.
should be. Maybe we should have him played in the middle of summer, like without the air conditioner on too. That's what I think it calls for.
Yep.
You should have
Sounds
to
like
wear
a
a
date.
swear. Yeah,
I don't
I
understand
like
what's
this idea.
happening here. I'm not
You
sure
have
there's-
the
Is it-
Googles
is-
right there.
It's a simulation game, Tom. This
Is
is a simulation.
Wait, is this the game you played in middle school where you just took all your clothes off and got under a sheet? Because that's not a game. That's not a video game, guys. Come on, don't break.
I don't
your
know
own
what you
rules.
did in gym class, but this is something completely different.
Well-
Desert Bus. I'm going to Google. Keep talking.
All right.
All
Anyway,
right.
so we're moving on while this is going on, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna get into some of the meat and potatoes. So some new announcements with the new Unreal Tournament game, and Vance, I'm gonna let you take it from here. So let's talk about it because I can tell you're excited. Don't blow your load while you're talking about this.
Super fucking excited, man. I love Epic Studios. They've always done great stuff. And to this day, I still play Unreal Tournament 2003. I think it's a wonderful game. It's
Is
amazing.
this at these fabled land parties that we were talking about earlier?
Every once in a while, we haven't played Unreal Tournament. We play a lot of Quake 3 Arena because everybody likes Quake 3, and it's still, dude. Halo what? cares?
I'm just
Give me a
breaking your
break.
balls. I know these things happen. So
No, I love, dude. I'll let you know if the next one's going on. Like I should know by tomorrow. But you got to come out, dude. They're actually a lot of fun. But anyway, getting back to Unreal Tournament. So Epic released a statement. It was a while ago. This is kind of old news for anybody that's been following, but the game's free. Not free to play. It's free. And the reason they're saying that is because all the content that's being generated for the game is being generated in conjunction with the community. And then once the game actually does finally go live, not beta or anything like that, they're just going to hand over a set of tools for entry-level modders for the game. And for people that really want to get nutty, you can actually, I think they're reducing the price of Unreal Engine 4 per month for people that really want to create content for the game. That actually want to do their own levels and do their own models, their own meshes and everything that goes along with it. And it's just, it doesn't get any more sandbox than that.
it really
and
doesn't.
Yeah, it really does. Everybody talks about freedom in games. This is the ultimate freedom. Whatever you can think up, whatever your friends can think up, whatever game types you want to implement, you literally have all the creative freedom that any publisher, any game designer is ever going to have in a game with this new project, and it's super ambitious. It's not new though. The PC community has enjoyed this kind of freedom for a long time, and then it kind of faded away. We don't know what happened. Games just kind of got away from it. And I know a lot of people right now might be listening to the stream or might see the stream and go, dude, what about Skyrim? And it's like, well, hey, dude, you couldn't really implement your own character meshes. You could do skins and stuff like that. They're giving you complete control of the game engine, whereas Skyrim didn't. Skyrim gave you very limited control, even though people did some amazing things with it.
Well, not to mention there's no entry level price point to it too. Like you had to actually pay for the game to get in and do that. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, Minecraft is open source, but my question is, are they going to do something like CS:GO where you buy? I want to say is it CS:GO where you can buy different guns? Like that's kind of one of their
there's
things.
always well, there's multiple stores. So Valve was really smart about it. They said, okay, we're going to open up the Steam store. And the Steam store doesn't just cater to Counter-Strike. It also caters to Dota, and it also caters to Team Fortress. And there's a ton of user-created content for all those games. And Epic Studios is just getting in on that again. But I don't know if anybody ever played Modern Warfare when it first came out for PC, but some of the best maps in the game were user-created content. And it was just unreal. I remember playing maps where it was just snipers on either side, and it was just stupid, mindless fun, and it expanded the game, an infinite amount beyond that $49.99 purchase that you made at Best Buy or wherever you got the game. And it's the same with, believe it or not, Red Orchestra was a mod for Unreal Tournament 2003, and that ended up becoming its own standalone game. So if you have if that's any indication of the potential of user-created mods, Unreal Tournament 4 is looking really exciting. It's looking really amazing already.
Well, I mean,
So
all these like League of Legends and Dota, I mean, League of Legends is Dota's baby. I mean,
no,
off of a mod for World of Warcraft, or sorry, not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3.
yeah,
Everything came from that.
sure.
So they all spawned from Defenders of the Ancients, which was a mod for Warcraft.
Yeah, all
So
hail the great Ice Frog. You can thank Ice Frog for that, and Freak, and I'm trying to think of the last guy's name, but yeah, yeah, and that's dude. MOBA is exploding. It's huge. Um, it's just who would have thought that it would become a multi-million-dollar industry? You know, a freaking mod for Warcraft 3.
I,
So yeah, so I mean, it's weird. I've been reading a lot of a lot of game development pages and stuff like that, and they're talking about is this the end of Call of Duty, or is this the end of the arcade
no.
milsim shooter for a while? You know, are people going back to the arena-based shooters?
Oh,
It,
okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, looking at Halo 5, like you were even saying that when we saw stuff for Halo 5, it looks very arena based, and you're right.
yeah, it's fast,
So,
really fast.
So
It's the jumps are still. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, for someone that doesn't know the difference between, say, an arena-based and Call of Duty, which is what
Arcade style.
run and gun,
Yeah.
like maybe a little explanation on that.
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
yeah.
So you know, you have your military simulation shooters. You know, your Battlefields, your Call of Duties,
Hmm.
um, versus your arena shooters. And so I guess the biggest difference would be like your mil sims are based in reality. That's what they use as their primary game development mantra or game development idea. Is
Mhm.
that, you know, it's obviously everything reacts like you would expect it to in real life, whereas an arena-based shooter is very much a fantasy type of shooter. The movement speed is, you know, uh, is not even remotely found in reality. The level design is also very labyrinth and maze-like.
Hmm.
You'll find multiple, and a lot. The big thing with arena shooters is that you'll find multiple levels of height, differing in most maps and whatnot, and
Hmm.
the speed is way different. So if you think Call of Duty is really fast, go watch a couple games of Quake 3 Arena or Unreal Tournament, and those games
Yeah.
move like lightning. And it's not that one's better than the other. It's just way different styles of gameplay.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of people seem to think that everybody's kind of burnt out on the milsim. Everybody's kind of
Well,
burnt out on the arcade.
I think
understandably so.
Yeah.
well, I mean, I wouldn't even honestly call Call of Duty a military sim.
It is.
I'd say it's a hybrid. It would be a hybrid though. I mean, if you say military sim to me, I think, Rainbow Six, something
Or
like
Arma.
that, where you can't
Arma, yeah,
run,
sniper.
yeah, or Arma, something you can't like run out in the open and not die. Like I remember playing Rainbow Six Vegas, and I ran out into a hallway and died repeatedly over and over and over again because I played tons of Halo, and that's just not how that game operates. And I think, I mean, Call of Duty, maybe if you said like Modern Warfare 1, maybe 2, but you're still taking a ton of shots. It's just
Well,
not the same thing.
and I think it's
But
worth, if you don't mind me derailing us back onto the point of free to play versus or
no,
free.
go.
So this is kind of an interesting point to play. So I'm really torn on picking up Evolve for this reason. And I read a really interesting article today that line itemed, if you buy every single piece of DLC available for Evolve right now, not including the stuff that comes with the season pass and the game itself, it's an extra 136 bucks in content.
Holy hell.
So if you wanted everything Evolve has to offer day one, you're 210 bucks ish. And so,
Wow.
that brings up a really interesting question, right? Of okay, well, so is stuff that maybe doesn't work as well in Evolve, or is this stuff that they could have included? I mean, it just adds a lot of questions, right? Like, were these developers that were strictly working on this expansion content versus on making the game solid? Um, I don't know. You could ask a lot of questions about that, right? And
So
it's
is that content day one
yes,
available?
it's
The
available.
excess 100 and some odd dollars?
It's available day one. The game launched with 44 items in its online store. And these were like costume packs, skins, weapon skins, that type of stuff.
That's a
Um,
whole different kind of
Ranging
ambitiousness.
from right, and it's ranging from $3 to $4. Free, there's like between $3 and $6 an item. Now here's the thing: is you don't have to have any of this to play the game, right? This is
Right.
more customization stuff. But then, it, like I said, it's kind of like, all right, well, so what is my season like? What does the season pass get me then?
And
Right.
see,
Yeah.
I would. One thing that I've talked about quite a bit with Destiny. So Destiny, you have some customization, but not really much. I don't know who all's
Right.
played it, but you get those shaders to where you can change the colors of your character to a certain extent. But I would be willing to pay Bungie with how much I've actually played their game to have a different colorway for my ship, or to have a different shaped speeder, or to have things that don't matter. Different dance moves for my character, or some ridiculous thing. I would gladly give them money for those kinds of items as a way to support them. When it ventures into the playable stuff that affects the game, like guns or abilities, that's when it starts to kind of get weird for me.
Yeah, and I think the concern being raised right now, and it's something for me that's really hard because like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I mean, Street Fighter 4 has been out for numerous years, and I think now if you were to buy every single costume in that game, you'd probably spend about $130. But they've been releasing content packs and costume packs probably every 6 months, you know, and all it does for the game is a skin pack, right? So then it's like, well, do you villainize a game studio for releasing a skin pack?
No,
You know,
I think a good game, just kind of like what Lucas is saying, like if you like a game and you like a developer, I mean, I spent plenty of money in Gotham City Imposters on stuff that didn't really further, like didn't give me an edge up on
right.
people, but it was my way of saying thank you, Monolith, for making a great game that I sunk a ton of hours into.
Sure.
So,
Well, and I think it's fair
Yeah.
to say that. I guess the Evolve thing concerns me because, and the Destiny. I mean, I could go on a whole rant about Destiny because even though I'm playing a shitload of it, I still find that. I mean, the ships are still boring and drab. The speeders are boring and drab. There's all these slots for ghosts. There's slots for additional ships. There's slots for additional speeders, and they don't do shit. And
well,
they're not that. They don't add any kind of element to the game that I think is worth noting. You know what I mean?
right. I think Bungie's a great company, but I think they've been really focused on some things that aren't as important. They could be focusing on a few other things. A lot of us have discussed. A lot of people I play with have discussed some of the broken elements of multiplayer, which they fixed some of them, and then they've broken some more in the process. But anyways, this isn't about that. What other stuff do we want to talk about with user created content? I don't really
Well,
have anything else.
well, I was gonna say, just like with Street Fighter on the PC, there's all kinds of user-created skins
Yeah,
that are
absolutely.
out there and they're bitching, dude. There's a lot of really high-quality stuff.
Oh my god! You know what I just remembered that was fucking fun as hell, and it was free to play when I got a hold of it. Was APB. I had a blast just fucking around in that game. That made Grand Theft Auto look like shit, and I really wish that game would have caught on. Number one, number two, I wish they would have done a better job with like this is going to maybe strike a nerve with Vance, but there is I feel like there are more cheaters on PC than any other system because it's easier to mod it and it's easier for people to break it, and that was a huge problem with APB. But that's a whole nother
Well, but and
story.
I think to Vance's
Yeah.
point though, like on the Street Fighter thing, is there's a lot of really great videos you can watch of like people that went in and created Tekken characters or Mortal Kombat characters, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff you can watch where people have just basically taken those meshes and
For
Oh
free.
made
yeah,
something pretty cool for free. But
For free.
I bought a van and then I painted the van and I drew a big pink dick on the side of it,
hmm.
and
Yeah.
Is this in a
sound
game or just
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
This
Call
is
of Duty, all
this
points
is in
forward.
real
That was
life
last
too.
weekend, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I love the fact that like I parked my van outside and I went in to get some bullets and shit like that, and I came back out and people were running their cars into my car because they saw the big dick. It's pretty
It's
funny.
So
and it's something developers never had any intention of. I'm sure the developers look at that and go, "Oh, huh, that's cool. We dig it."
I
And
drew a big dick.
but I think
Surprising.
it's just another way to involve the community. And I think that's every developer wants to do that. Every developer wants the community to feel like they're a part of the game in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's aesthetically or whether it's coming at it from and creating a completely new game style or game type or new weaponry or whatnot. And it's just all of a sudden it doesn't feel like a game anymore. It feels like a community. Like you have a little bit of ownership of that community rather than you're just another faceless number. You know what I mean?
I can't wait till Unreal Tournament comes out and I can make a big giant penis guy, and all I'm going to do is run around and kill everybody. You're going to get killed by the big dick.
You're gonna have to buy a keyboard and mouse, dude.
Theme
Nope.
of the show. Theme of the
Controller.
show.
So
So what else is on the agenda, good moderator?
Okay, so I found it. It came off the page. That's why I was having problems earlier. So, the other content that we want to talk about tonight is there is no I in team. So I wanted to discuss a little bit about an article I read with League of Legends earlier this week, and it really got me thinking about some things that I've experienced over the years with like rating and just what's the word, etiquette for gaming. And to kind of give a brief overview of this letter, it was a letter to people playing League of Legends. And if you haven't played that, it's very team oriented. If you're not playing as a team, you probably need to choose a different game. And it's
super
talking
fucking
about,
awesome game.
not to mention, I mean, a game in that takes what, 30 minutes to an hour or something like that, usually somewhere in
Yeah.
that
Well,
time frame.
You literally, it's nothing less than 20 minutes. You literally can't surrender until you hit the 20-minute mark. So
Right. So basically, I haven't played that game in a while, so I don't know if people can come in later or anything like that. But
Oh.
it basically breaks the game for other people when people leave. It's not like leaving a game of Destiny or Halo or something where you might be getting your ass kicked, you leave, and somebody comes in, and there's a possibility that you might be able to turn it around. Like it wrecks it for people. And it made me really start thinking about um, expectations with friends and that kind of thing. And it's like, where do you draw the line? And you say, hey, tell your wife that you're going to be doing this and set proper expectations instead of fucking like making us all look bad, like we're your bad friends and we're dragging you out here to play when you just need to like say, hey, honey, I'm going to play this from this time to this time, and set that expectation with her, because I can't tell you how many times I've done raids in World of Warcraft and stuff like that. And granted, those things take a shitload of a lot longer time than anything in Destiny or any other, an MMO raid can be ridiculously long, or at least it seemed like it used to be. It's not like that anymore.
No, they
But-
definitely respect the player's time nowadays.
Yeah, but I remember, time and time again, people not showing up for things, and it really, I think it ties back to your group. Like, if you want to have a good group, you need to, set proper expectations with people, and we're as dependent. We're only as good as our weakest player. So I kind of want somebody else to talk about this. Tom, what do you think about this?
I mean, what do I think about like making sure you're available to do a raid or what? I mean, because it has to boil down to, at the end of the day, it's a video game, right? Like, and there's stuff that's going to trump that and take precedent on it. But I do think that it sucks. I mean, there's nothing worse, especially when you're playing a game that's very team oriented, having a member of your team drop out. To give you an example, last weekend I went to the casuals for Street Fighter for Salt Lake City. Basically, just a bunch of people playing Street Fighter, practicing up. They do it weekly. And one of the guys there was playing League, and their regular AD carry didn't show up. So they had like a pug, basically. And I'm pretty sure it was their AD carry. And it was literally like, you could just feel the frustration off them because their entire team vibe was dead. And like you could hear him like, you guys, you can't count on so and so to do this because it's not our usual guy. It's a random. They're not gonna play like this person plays. And like he kept saying that over and over again. Like, so I mean, I think there's definitely that there, right? Like a lot of these games build like a really heavy team aspect, and I think if you're gonna make that commitment, stick to it. But at the same time, like if I was raiding with you guys and you were like, hey, I gotta get off, I gotta work in the morning, or Hank needs me, or the missus called, like I'd give you shit, but at the end of the day, like you gotta do what you gotta do.
No,
So,
right? No, totally.
But at the same time, like good husband advice: set proper expectations. Don't say it's only gonna take 10 minutes to spend 2.5 hours, because it's not gonna do anything with your gaming friends. It's just gonna get your console thrown out the window. So I mean, that's
I would
just good people
suggest
advice.
everybody go read this article though, because they did make a point about like the parents like demonizing the game, you know, and saying that it's the game's fault and that it's so bad that this person is playing this game when it's actually like, you know, if they were playing football, you wouldn't be complaining about them playing a team sport. But because we choose to play video games as opposed to playing a team sport, how is this any different? I mean, esports, like Tom always says to me, like there are more than 5 people who play Street Fighter. They play it on the internet all day long. There's thousands of people watching them,
Mhm.
which means that I mean there are really good team based games out there that if we were playing football, people wouldn't be bitching and being like, oh, you know, I gotta go home. My mom says it's time to go, or you know, oh, my wife says I gotta go. I have a football game. I'm supposed to be here for this time to this time. Anyways,
So,
continue.
I guess I might have an opinion on it.
Go
So
ahead.
with video games, you know, growing up, you had your Nintendo or your Sega, and you jump in, you play your Super Mario Brothers, and then if you had to go do something else, you weren't affecting anything by stopping playing that game, other than your progress, perhaps. Whereas now, with video games, it's so much easier to jump in and join a community, whether this community is people you don't know or friends of yours or colleagues. But now you're easily connected to these other individuals. And just like with, you know, meetings or dinners or dates or lunch, it's important to respect other people's time. And I think that's the point that maybe you're trying to get to, Chuck. And the scarier part about a video game, you know, if I'm supposed to meet up with Tom for lunch and something comes up and I don't show up, Tom's like really fucked. He drove all the way out there. He's sitting down by himself. It's more of a devastating factor that I, you know, have to deal with. Whereas in a video game, it's easy. Just like this call, I could just shut off my computer and I'm gone. It's much easier to disconnect from everybody. So I think it's easier to disrespect that etiquette. I guess maybe that's the point I'm trying to make.
Well, and I think ground
There are other
rules for
people
that.
on the other side of the line, you know?
Well, I think like etiquette wise, everybody has like different expectations, right? Like as an example, there's a coworker that I game with. Since he's back in school, we haven't played as much, but hey, you want to play some Destiny? Yeah, dude. When are you gonna be around? I'll be around after 3. Cool. So about 3:15, I jump on. Nothing. Shoot him a text. Hey man, we're gonna play some Destiny. Oh yeah, I'll be on in like half an hour. Right, but to him, it's a very casual thing. Like, to me, it's like, well, I have X amount of allocated time. If you say be on around 3, I probably got a family dinner Sunday night at 5:30. If I jump on at 3, I'm probably good 3 to 5, and then I'm done. And so everybody has their own situations, but because it's so casual, it makes it a weird social scenario, if you will, really. Like, because then there's those of us, I think, that take it as seriously as some of the others, and then there's those that maybe don't.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a very interesting dynamic to consider.
That's exactly what it is. You hit the nail on the head. You both hit the nail on the head. Lucas has a very good point with respecting your time, respecting everybody else's time. But so does Tom. And the reality behind it is not everybody is as invested in a game or as uninvested in a game as you might be. You know what I mean? That's why it's so hard to find people that are. It's almost like snowboarding. You don't want to snowboard with a beginner; he's going to slow you down all day. Whereas you don't want to snowboard with somebody that's way ahead of you because you're going to slow him board because you're going to weigh him down pretty much. And it's a lot like that with these games because they are getting more and more complex. And with that complexity in the game, especially multiplayer, it requires more of your time.
Well, and like, I mean, I still have not done a raid in Destiny. When World of Warcraft was in its heyday, we were raiding 3 nights a week, Lance, would you say?
Oh my gosh.
2 to 3 nights a week raiding?
Was it really that bad?
It was that bad, yeah.
That's not bad, guys. That's not bad.
But I mean, compared to what we do now, it was. But now with Destiny, I haven't done the raid yet. I'm raid worthy. I'm level. I have enough gear. I could probably hang, but I can't get 5 people that I know on the internet at the same time that I'm on because 10 o'clock at night on a weeknight, dude, I'm done. I'm asleep. I'm up at 6 a.m. on a Monday. There's no way in hell I'm up past 11 on a Monday. And everybody I know that's raiding, I literally pull my PlayStation app up at 10:30 while I'm like just dozing off, and I watch an entire raid group light up. Like I watch everybody log into Destiny. I'm like, oh, there it is. But it's different schedules.
Yeah.
Weird.
I think the overall thing that we need to do with this is we need to look at gaming like we're dating each other, because it would be like, what's going on here, Tom? I mean, I just want to check where we are in this relationship.
Are you gonna buy me flowers then?
I mean, I just want to check. I mean, so we've been playing this game for a while now, and I just want to check. Like, I have this expectation of you being online at this time, and
If
I
we're
want to progress this.
if we're talking about dating and gaming is the same, then you left me at the altar in Destiny. Like hard, because we were leveling together and then you were capped.
It was
Within
more
the,
like
within the
like
same weekend.
it was like summer love. We were 13. We were enjoying everything. We were running through. I was looking at Tom and his Daisy Dukes, and it was a great time. And then I
Wow.
was like, man, I just started looking at all these other gamers, and I just took
It wasn't
off.
even summer love, man. It was like a one night stand in a cheap motel. Like
Mm.
it was like, hey Tom, let's run some quests together. Oh look, we've gained 2 levels together. Yeah, man, I gotta grab some food. I'll be back. And then I look at the thing. Oh, Lance is
6
18,
levels.
and I walk away. Oh, Lance is 24, and I walk away. Oh, he's 32. It's Sunday. I guess I'm done playing with him.
But this isn't to like bag on Lance, but
Yes, it is.
on that, like for me, it's like a pet peeve of mine to have people respect my time, and
Mhm.
so then through that I try to respect other people's time. So my brother bought an Xbox and Destiny just to play with me, and so for me, it's like that's a big investment in him and a big investment in some of his time that he doesn't have. So I have a character in Destiny that the only time I play that is with my brother, so that we stay at the exact same rank. And it'd be easier on me if I had 3 characters that I could raid with and get gear and share. But with him, I've got a character set just to play with him. So Lance, you could
pretty
be
cool.
better to Tom, is what
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
No,
He
I
just
do the
made
same
me
thing
feel
with League of
like
Legends.
shit.
You know,
Yeah.
But going back to it, I think, believe it or not, I think a lot of game design is going to go back to that. You know, in the arena shooters and in the early games, you really didn't have all the extra meta game, which is leveling and gear and stuff like that. You just jump in, you catch a match, and you play with your friends, and then it's over. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing gaming kind of go back to that a little bit, you know. But keep competitive ladders, because competitive ladders are here to stay. They're not going
I
anywhere.
think games that include like a speed run are awesome too. I'm actually really excited, and I can't remember if it's out or if it's on its way out. But Axiom Verge for PlayStation, like the developer's actually building a dedicated speedrun mode into, and I think that's something that
You okay,
yeah,
Tom?
I don't know if I'm dying or not. It's so late at night, guys. But like, it's exciting for me to see like that coming back too, because I think some of those classic elements are missing.
Mhm.
I think so too. I think there's
I
a lot
agree.
of, you know, there was a time where we really there was a time in gaming history where we really pushed for visuals and we really focused on visuals and story. And I think the art of game design really kind of died a little bit, or got retarded a little bit in that age.
I think the correct
Final
term would
Fantasy
be
VII.
money
Well,
hungry.
I think this would be a whole other podcast that Tom's
Yeah,
had this
sorry.
argument with me, but I think that's where you get the Nintendo versus next gen console.
Yeah.
The game design versus graphics and, bells and whistles.
I agree. I think
Ooh.
me and you, Lucas, dude, I think we think a lot alike, man. Now that I hear you.
I was a graphic designer as well, my friend, so it's
You
maybe
guys wanna
something
get a
with the
room?
art field. I'd
Yeah.
be cool with it.
Yeah.
If you guys could just out.
Like, get out of the phone call and like
We'll
let's leave it
shuffle
live
out
on the
and-
internet.
We just have a bromance going.
All right, that's
No, I don't think. I mean, we went through our. It's just like anything, we went through our awkward phase, and now it's getting back to the science of what's fun. Somebody asked me at one point, what's more important in video games, story or gameplay, and I answered fun. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Yep.
Right.
Are you having
that's
fun?
right.
Yeah. Because, like, for me, how
Fantastic.
fun is a Mario game that has the exact same story every single time? But
Yeah.
the gameplay's a lot of fun. But then certain games like Last of Us, the story is what is really important. The gameplay's great, but the story is what really made that game special.
Yeah.
Well, and I
It's
think that's why I'm nervous. I'm nervous/excited about the order next week. I think
Ooh.
visually the game is going to be stunning. I think concept-wise it's going to be stunning. But I am really nervous that the story is going to be janky, or that it's just going to be like weak mechanics. You know what I mean? Or like all the stuff that's really cool about the game. I'm really worried that all of that's going to happen in the first like 45 minutes to an hour, and then it's
possible.
going to be 7 more hours of just all that stuff repeated. But that
I-
game looks gorgeous. I'm so excited.
I've really been trying to think of how I could scrape the money together to buy a PlayStation just because I really want to play that game.
I listened to an interview of the developer a week ago, and he talked about, how all the game is engine. There's no pre-rendered video. It's all in engine. So that gives them the ability, if you get shot in the arm and it's bleeding and it goes into a cutscene, your character should still be shot in the arm and bleeding during that cutscene. And
Mm.
that kind of stuff is just so exciting that gaming is finally reaching that level
Yeah.
where it's just fluid. Plus, I really want to see the Tesla gun real bad.
Yeah, see, you know what's funny is my mind, I play Quake 3 Arena, and dude, it's weird, I play Titanfall on its lowest settings. I got a system that'll play it, at 4K at its highest settings, it doesn't really matter. Um, but it's just weird for me, it's all about the kinetic, it's all about the gameplay, it's all about, how good does the game run, how much thought process went into the actual idea of introducing a gamer into this environment, and what can you do?
I think part of that can be argued though that it's the visuals. I mean, part of a game like The Order or Titanfall or anything that has these incredibly high demand, The Witcher, which is like these crazy minimum settings, right? Like
Yeah.
anything that has that, part of the draw, part of the technical prowess in the game design, I think comes from that.
I,
But see, back to us being on the same page. The StarCraft, I played a lot of StarCraft, not as much of late, but for me, when I was playing that, I dumbed down the graphics as much as I could because the gameplay was what was important.
yeah,
Making sure to hit, your timings and all that other fun stuff, and you get all the graphics almost got in the way of the gameplay.
yeah. No, I agree.
I think we're getting way off topic here, but
We're having a good conversation, Lance. What the hell?
I know. Woo!
Well, no,
Wow, keep it up.
It all goes back to that huge paradigm shift that's happening in the industry right now, and it's starting with Epic. Epic's coming back and they're saying, wait a minute, what makes a game fun? Let's bring the community in on this one. Let's say
Which-
this is free.
Shameless self-promotion. If you listen to the audio interview we have on our feed with Donald Mustard from Chair, who is
Nice.
owned by Epic Games,
Yeah, that's a great
they're
studio.
they're working on a thing. They wouldn't say what the thing is. They wouldn't say how far along on the thing they were, but they basically said they're working on a thing and they're not ready to talk about it yet. So kind of cool.
Amazing studio.
Agreed.
What they've done with
I don't
mobile
know.
is just insane.
Except that Advent Rising was really, really bad.
They did Advent Rising.
They did, yeah. Well,
Oh,
Chair
and you-
didn't, but it was a bunch of guys from the Advent Rising studio or what formed Chairsoft.
Yeah, but they did Infinity Blade for mobile phones, and if you ever had
Yeah.
a good look at Infinity Blade, you're like,
Well, and
how
Shadow.
did you guys fit this on a fucking phone?
Well, and I
What's
think
that? What's that quote from Any Given Sunday? You got to crawl out of hell every inch, like 1 inch at a time. I mean, I'm
and
pretty
I
sure
think-
Advent Rising was that hell.
Well, and a lot of what they did with Advent Rising proved they could make a good, solid game. And they came out and did Shadow Complex.
Yeah.
They did
Oh.
another game right before Shadow Complex is the one that got them really, really noticed as well. And I can't think of the name of it right now. They had a lot of good titles. So I mean, Advent Rising was just I think for us a really unique letdown because it was being made locally and it was one of the first like massive games made locally that we could like get hyped up and stoked on, and then it was just poorly executed.
Well,
Let me-
not to mention. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me ask you guys something. I didn't mean to cut you off, Lucas, but let me ask you guys something. Like, say if there was a console developer out there that came out and said, we're gonna allow our developers to create video games, but these video games are gonna come with a unique feature, and that unique feature is gonna be user-created content. Now we're gonna give you a set of tools that you guys can use as little indie developers to continually increase or continually add onto your gameplay experience for that console. Would you guys say that's a huge selling point for that console, or do you care? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, is that even a concern for you
I would-
guys?
I would think if is this the gimmick for the entire console? Is just
Right.
user-generated content?
Well, we're
because
just
I
saying
wouldn't buy
it's a
in.
feature.
As a feature, that would be great. I would worry if that was the only thing, then you'd have something like the Ouya where it just kind of flops,
And I
because you
think-
don't get enough good content to carry it.
And I think also, like Little Big Planet, for example, that was kind of a big push for Little Big Planet, right? Look at all this user-generated content. Look at all this user-generated content. Awesome. But then you start getting like Little Big Planet 3, where some of the non-user-generated content wasn't fleshed out, and it didn't work out. So I think yeah, for me, depending on the console, or whatever, it can be a feature, but it's got to be a good feature, and the game or console still needs to deliver on its main promises to make that worthwhile.
Not to mention, I mean, I think about things like Disney Infinity, which I do really like the toy box, but I mean, and that's all user generated. Like I can do whatever I want with it. But then I also think about the fact that yeah, I may have been artistic at one point or another, but I don't really want to sit down and build shit in that game sometimes, and I just want somebody else to build something for me.
Sure.
So, which I mean, but I'm not saying that a user can't create something better than somebody who is just developing the tools. I'm not saying that that's not possible. I'm just saying that sometimes just somebody building something for me. I mean, that's why we're buying a game for $60, right? We're buying something that somebody else creates.
I could see with the draw of it though. I mean, look at Minecraft. Like
Yeah.
that entire game is just here's a world, go create whatever you want. Create a computer, create a waterfall, create harvesting, whatever you want to do. So if you could then share that or share your creations more easily, I could see that taking off.
Yeah.
There was a huge quote. There was a really cool quote one time, and it was I think it was Johan. I think it was Johan. I can't remember his last name, but he's the head over at Dice. And he says, "Dude, it's not the size of the sandbox. It's the quality of the toys in the sandbox."
Mm.
He says, sandbox can be really small, but if it has a bunch of really bitchin' toys to play with, then it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the size is. And he was kind of talking about level design and stuff, and now you're starting to see, this emergence of that whole idea again. It's like, what's the coolest toy in the sandbox?
Right.
I'm gonna ask my girlfriend that tomorrow when I see her. I'll be like, "What's the coolest toy in the sandbox?"
It's gonna be weird
She's gonna love it.
because there's gonna be like a kiddie pool full of sand, and his
And then
dick
she's gonna
poking
be
out
like,
the top.
"Are you saying that my junk is a sandbox? Is that what you're saying?" And then it's just gonna go downhill.
You'd be like, honey, your body is a wonderland.
Lance wants to pave paradise and put up her parking lot.
Yep.
Hmm.
I get it. So I just think
Taking a weird
it's
turn.
just, gaming is.
We need to wrap this up.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do. You're gonna have kids if you don't.
He'll be here for
Shut
another
up,
couple of
Pete.
minutes, guys. Just keep
Wrap-
letting him fucking go. Like,
Wrap that shit up. Pete.
I'm so glad my girlfriend doesn't watch this shit.
What did I want to say? I wanted to say that I think that gaming can be so much more than what it is right now. But it's going to take the creative minds of the community to really push it into the next generation. I don't. In other words, what I want to say is I don't think the next generation is graphics. I don't think the next generation is that new fidelity experience. We're going to get there regardless. You know what I mean? I think that next experience is something we haven't really thought of yet, and it's going to be a combined effort of the community where we all get together and we say, "This is it. This is our moment."
Gaming studios, hire him.
I
Well-
completely agree. Look at Minecraft.
Yeah.
Look at the graphics of Minecraft and how popular that is. Everything about that game, no studio or production company would have ever signed off on.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, have you ever heard that term?
I'm gonna keep this going.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Have you ever seen
Tom's
that?
gonna fall asleep.
Let him, dude. It'd be hilarious to hear the thud. No, I think. What was it? What did they want to say? You know what? It probably wasn't that good anyway because I totally forgot about it anyway. But it was the film industry talking about the gaming industry. Like someone in the film industry says, you guys are making all this money. You haven't even had your Citizen Kane moment yet.
Hmm.
And then
Right,
the reply was, we're gaming. We'll never have a Citizen Kane moment. We're a completely different medium.
Right.
If we have a Citizen Kane moment, that means we're fucking doing it wrong.
Hmm.
And I completely agree. And I think it's gonna be that untapped, it's gonna be that fresh mind, that untapped mind that takes us into that next adventure, into that next great beyond, And this is the start of it. Get ready. Consoles are. Hopefully they jump on this bandwagon too. Let's just say I hope that, because if they don't, they're gonna get left in the dust.
Well, I still think there'll always be a place for consoles, but I think.
Well, Nintendo anyway. Nintendo will be always around.
But I think all of them will have
I
a
agree.
place. But
Sorry,
I think
Lance.
that I think the console wars are over after this generation. I don't think it'll ever come down to a console war. I think it'll flat out be which controller do you want.
Yeah.
Well,
And that'll be the end of it.
personally, I don't even think that this generation was a console war. Like everybody talks about
Just a
PlayStation,
marketing
your
play.
Xbox, your Nintendo, and who won. Outside of Nintendo, they're all the exact same thing.
And they really
You
are.
know?
I mean, my Xbox hasn't done anything since I bought it. But anyway, Lance looks like he's frozen and dropped. based on the agenda, I think we are pretty much free and clear. Tune in next week where we will be so much more energetic and also doing the combination episode, Big Shiny Robot / EID, recording episode 43 of the Big Shiny podcast, covering the video game goings-ons. Lucas, you'll be back, correct?
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Talking
Yeah.
about some Zelda Majora's Mask. Hopefully, I'll have my new 3DS LL to show off and stuff like that. So, if you want to follow anybody from the show on the Twitters, Lucas is at DamnItLucas. We've got at Rogue Nola Roll, Mr. Vance.
I gotta change that. I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody.
I love it. We got at Chuck Sweat, and I am at Thomas Winkley. The video archive will be up shortly. You'll find us in Stitcher and iTunes. Please go rate us, spew some hate at us. If you have any concerns, questions, comments, thoughts, feedback at entertainmentisdead.com. See y'all later.
Absolutely.
'Kay.
Lucas, I look forward to seeing you next week, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, hit me up when you want to talk about Nintendo whenever.